Today I fucked up staring at a blue-haired lady on the bus. This happened earlier today when I was taking the bus to taekwondo practice. When I got on the bus, it was kind of full, most of the seats were taken and a few people were standing. I decided to stand since I didn't really need to sit, and happened to be in the line of sight of this lady with really nice blue hair. I myself have blue hair, so I kept glancing over at her because hers just looked so nice, like cotton candy. I realized that she was staring back at me too, but I didn't think much of it. Eventually, a bunch of people got off and some seats opened up in the back, so I walked past her to sit down, since a lot more people were also getting on. I noticed that she had a bag on the seat next to her and refused to move it despite the influx of people, but man, who am I to judge? Right as I sat down though, she stood up and came swinging at me with her bag, and it whacked me straight in the chest. Felt like I was the door of a medieval castle mid-siege and her bag was the battering ram of my enemies. I was caught so off guard that I just sat there in shock, speechless. She walked back to her seat angrily and I stared at her head of bow. Today I fucked up her blue hair, confused. All the other passengers started making sure I was okay, asking if I knew her and whatnot, but I was too dumbfounded to answer. She turned around and said, "Don't start shit if you can't finish it, bitch. I'll take this outside if I need to." This results in more confusion on my part. I tried to ask what she wanted with me, but she turned around and ignored me. Thankfully, she got off at the next stop, but it seemed she did so because she was under the impression that I actually wanted to throw down, which I didn't. So she just called me a fat asshole and left. Looking back now, I realize that she must have thought that when I was looking at her that I was antagonizing her or judging her for not moving her back for other people. I've been told I have resting bitch face, so she must have taken me constantly looking over at her as throwing down a gauntlet for the coveted title of best blue-haired girl on the 65 bus. Yikes. Too long didn't read, stared at a lady with pretty blue hair on the bus. She thought I wanted to fight, so she whacked me with her bag and called me fat. Edit, to clarify, I am a girl. And this took place in good old sunny Seattle. She sounds like a bitch, but now I wanna see her hair. I think the foo is hers, not yours. She is missing some gerbils in her head to have reacted like this. You did not fuck up. We all zone out while looking at stuff, that's just normal. She attacked you, unprovoked, like a maniac, and she should be embarrassed as hell. To be clear, a woman assaulted you because you were looking at her. That's fucked up. Taekwondo, 0. Blue hair, 1. Today I fucked up, the fly, the foreskin, and the 40-degree day. Well, as the title suggests, this today I fucked up involves a fly, a 40C day, 104F, and, unfortunately, my foreskin. I would like to preface this by stating that I am a fly-in, fly-out, pardon the pun / worker, living in a mining camp in absolute bumfuck nowhere, Western Australia. I spent 8 days straight, working from 6 AM to 6 PM outdoors looking at rocks, geologist / then fly back to civilization for 6 days at a time. Imagine hot, dry, red, as my peon would later become, the kind of place where nothing but iron ore, snakes, people trying to make a living and flies live. And I'm not talking a handful of flies, I'm talking a swarm desperate to suck the moisture from your eyeballs, or anywhere else kind of flies. Working in such a climate takes its toll. Now that we are coming into the summer months, we are creeping back above the 40s, sometimes even closer to 50-degree days. Thus, keeping hydrated is fucking important. One of the sayings here is, if you're feeling thirsty, it's already too late. Well, I don't mind working here, but I certainly don't want to spend the rest of eternity here, by being dead, so I'm very particular about keeping my water intake high. Normally, this is around /5 liters, sometimes closer to 10 liters as the temp increases. Naturally, this high volume of water going in, means you often have a high volume of water coming right back out. As such, when the alarm sounds at 5 AM I stumble to the toilet. Cooked from 7x days of 12-hour shifts, and feeling a bit vulnies after a rough sleep, and a few liters of water brewing overnight, one heads to the loo first thing. I couldn't be fucked aiming into the bowl, so figured I would sit down. This is where today I fucked up begins. Unfortunately, I didn't quite align myself so well with the seat, and as I shimmied around, by complete accident, my pecker pashed the porcelain. A fate I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. This put me in a right funk for the rest of the day, woke me right the fuck up, the cold, wet ceramic snapping me out of my post-slumber haze and into the cruel reality I have another 24 hours of work to get through before heading home. I get a wriggle on, head to work and start getting on with my day. Currently, I'm maybe a 45-minute drive from camp to the drill site I'm working on this particular swing. Typically, this time is sacred. You can enjoy a coffee, some tunes, crank a podcast and enjoy the aircon, enjoy the creature comforts before you're into the full Pilbara heat, being molested by flies, sweat, dust and sunscreen juice. However, something inside of me, in my jocks more specifically, didn't quite feel right. I chalked this down to the cruel events of relieving the bladder this morning, and tried to set it out of my mind, but regardless of what I did, or how many times I prodded and poked, my pecker just didn't feel 100%. I tried my very hardest to proceed with my working day, and before I knew it, it was 11 AM and a sense normality had mostly returned to my day. My todger, however, still didn't feel quite right, and curiosity killed the cat, so I tried to find a bit of shelter. Easier said than done when you're working in the middle of an open pit. Dropped tro, had a peek and a poke and tried to readjust. I did this by retracting the old boy's turtleneck, having a wee gander, a bit of a pinch and roll, then set it back in my jocks. Normally, the nature of the flies, buzzing around you all day waiting for exposed anything, skin, food, water, moisture, spot my winkle, and have a field day. All that's on my mind is relieving my bladder at this stage, so I do that, and once I'm done the old shake normally clears the flies off and back into your pants it goes. Normally I found it odd, that something as small as your dick touching the toilet bowl would occupy one's mind for 5 hours, but, in the desert it is just you and your thoughts, I guess. Having had a peek at my Johnson, and not seeing anything wrong, I thought it must be in my head. I did have a new laundry powder this swing, so when an intense irritation in my pants started, I thought I was going mental. Tempted to have a look, again, but thinking I was overreacting, I let the dull, nagging itch persist. And this was like, an ITCH. A good 20 minutes or so until the sensation just became too much, and I was forced to take a second look. I run from my workstation to behind it, go full child and drop my pants to my ankles and start prodding and poking around. Immediately, I'm concerned with just how tender, red and puffy he's looking. This is not normal. I retract said hoodie again over the helmet, towards my ground, and yikes. It's a situation. It's instantly looking aggravated, infected even. WTF has caused this? Surely not the toilet bowl incident. Curious, I start manipulating, and grab a water bottle and think a splash of water might calm this situation. That's when I see it. Hiding, in between the skin flap, as the turret of water rolls off my ramrod, a dead, crushed, suffocated fucking fly that had been unfortunate enough to be crushed by my retracting foreskin gently floats to the ground. Revolted in myself, the situation, just feeling generally pretty shook, I continue pouring water on. In my haste, I use my spare hand to make sure there is nothing else lurking up in there, my spare, dirty, dusty, iron ore covered hand pouring the water, the other cleaning my helmet, and my pants down my ankles. This stage, a water truck and driver comes past. I'm not even bothered. Being caught with my pants down wasn't of the slightest concern, when your puffy red itchy fly blown knob is staring you in the face. I don't even know where I go from here. I'm still on site, and maybe 10 hours later, he's still not 100%. I put discomfort and swelling at a 4/10. Turns out hastily washing your fly blown wang with a dirty miner's hand in the middle of the desert may make things worse. To the fly's credit though, he's held his own. Lord, it certainly feels like he put up a fight in there. But for him, I guess. What a horrible way to go, even by my own admission, crushed to death by someone's foray. Too long didn't read. Today I accidentally trapped and killed a fly in my foreskin and made it considerably worse by trying to clean it with dirty hands, resulting in a very sore sausage. I was fully expecting this to be about you getting your foreskin trapped in your zipper, but this was somehow even worse. Love that no one ever posts to "today I fucked up" with their own accounts. So username checks out always happens and it's perfect. When you just skimmed the beginning of the post and wondered how a 104-year-old female sent her foreskin flying. Careful next time. Penis fly traps need clean water, otherwise they get sick. What a captivating title. I'm gonna need everyone to step their game up. This title immediately grabbed my attention and sat my ass down. What a breath of fresh air. Today I fucked up by locking my pregnant wife in the shower. This happened last night. My very 8 months pregnant wife and I have been staying at my grandparents' house in a beach town for the summer while working a pair of summer jobs while our house is being renovated. I work in a school district and she is finishing up a degree. If you have ever been to most beach towns, the houses usually come equipped with an outdoor shower. Most are enclosed for privacy like ours is, so many residents take normally showers in there as well. It's also quite spacious, so 2 people fit into it quite easily. My wife, being rather full of child as it were, has had a struggle washing. So me, being the wonderfully diligent husband, suggested I join her so I can help her with it. No other reason than that. None whatsoever. Anyway, yesterday after a long hot day at work, I tell my wife I'm going to take a shower before work, into which she replies that she will be joining me. Who am I to complain about that? Shower goes as planned, nothing crazy, just a simple scuba dub, then a nice relaxing evening. I had plans to play some video with my boys, was looking forward to it. This is where I fuck up. Normally I let her tie a towel on and let her leave first, but today I wanted to hurry so that I could get set up with the boys. I grabbed my towel, tied it up, walked out and flipped the latch that locks the shower from the outside, just like I normally do when I shower alone. I walk inside, though the kitchen that my grandparents are making a bit of dinner, and up to our room to get myself set up. After about 5 minutes I start to think my wife is taking a long time talking to my grandparents in just a towel. As I am thinking that, the door bursts open with a very angry my wife screaming, "You think that was fucking funny?" I sputter with a "what was funny? Locking me in a fucking shower, you fucking walnut." I deadpan realize what I did. Turns out she was banging on the wall that is connected to the kitchen from basically the moment I walked into the house. Luckily my grandparents heard her and let her out quickly. The relative short time of her containment did not make the level of her anger any smaller though. Luckily for me, pregnant my wife can be bribed with ice cream and back rubs, so I didn't have to sleep on the couch. Too long didn't read. Locked pregnant wife in outdoor shower because dumb. Called a walnut and had to go get ice cream and give back rubs to be allowed to sleep in bed. The only thing that could make this better is her showing up with a newborn. Mouth walnut as an insult. Wife bursts in the room calling you a walnut. Current objective, survive. Lucky for me, bribe is super effective against this type of boss encounter. You guys will laugh at this someday. It's a good one. Walnut. My grandparents thought it was the funniest shit ever. Shouldn't be long till she finds it funny too. Why is there a lock on the outside of the shower in the first place? Like, what would you ever need to lock inside? I can understand a lock on the inside, but why the outside? It just sounds like a recipe for disaster. There is a lock on the outside so that the door doesn't swing open when it is windy. It's a semi-open air shower. They also store their backyard chairs and table in the shower in the winter months. Luckily for me, pregnant my wife can be bribed with ice cream and back rubs, so I didn't have to sleep on the couch. If bribery doesn't work, you can probably outrun her too, at least for the moment. This time with my grandmother has been a learning experience for her. She has learned how to make homemade pasta, balance 4 trays of dishes on her arms, and how to throw a shoe around corners. I was getting hit no matter what I did.